This is Late Night Health. This is the radio show that cares about the most important part of your life, your health. Hi, I'm Mark Allen, and along with the insane Daryl Wayne, we're going to spend the next 2 hours together talking about a wide variety of topics that touch on each and every one of us, ranging from what the current trends in nutrition are to the Global Influence Summit, something I went to last year that literally gave me lifelong friends as well as taught me an awful lot about health. And we'll be finding more about that. We'll have Susie Q. Wood from Florida. Also, she's a transformation artist. Trash-formation artist, I should say. She uses junk to make art, and she's helping to heal the planet one piece of litter at a time. We'll also be spending some time with Robert Weiss. He's the author of Out of the Doghouse. Is watching internet considered pornography? And if you do that and you're married or in a magnanimous relationship, is that considered cheating? We'll find out more, and we'll wrap up our show with Robert Clancy, and Teresa Dale will be here as well. All that and more. Right now we go to someplace in the middle of the state of Florida, and we talk with one of my favorite people in the world, Dave Foreman, the herbal pharmacist. And it's okay. He's one of my favorite people, but he doesn't really care for me. It's all right. Dave and I have known each other for a number of years, and he's really terrific. Hey, I got to start. I stopped on my way in, and I bought I'm trying to think of what it is. It's a trail mix.
Okay.
I thought it was healthy. It had some dried fruit and some nuts. I figured a little bit high in sugar because of the dried fruit, but I figured, hey, this is healthy, right? I looked, didn't see any sulfur dioxide in it or other preservatives, and I'm eating it. And as I pulled into the studio this morning, I looked at the package, and it said made with genetically modified products. I am so incensed at CVS, I can't believe it. It's their brand.
It actually said that on the label?
Yeah.
You'd think that would be a deterrent.
In a very small and tiny place. I didn't see it.
Well, it's funny. Not along the similar line. I was in I'm going to say the name. You said CVS.
Sure.
I was in a Starbucks about a month and a half ago, and I wish I'd taken a picture of it. They had one of these. You know how they have those signs in Starbucks that they put up periodically, promoting something. And
right.
They were promoting that they had figured out how to make coffee for this one country, part of the world, that was drought resistant and something else, and they were providing these plants to them so they could keep their economy going. And I'm like, huh. So basically what you're telling me is that you're selling genetically modified coffee.
Yeah, it would have to be, wouldn't it?
Right, yeah. So it's sad because, here you were, Mark, you're trying to do the right thing. You're trying to grab it, and it's because I've seen those same things, and you're like, oh, cool, no preservatives. Oh, the fruit is not sweetened. Most of the time,
right.
Dried fruit's sweet. And you're like, sweet, this is great, man, I'm going to be healthy. And then you see the fine print, or the corner of the bag that you normally wouldn't look at, and you're like, oh, wow, so I'm now eating genetically modified foods. Which,
we've been secretly eating them since the 90s. They didn't tell us, and which also incenses me to know. And with the nutrition that people want, that people need as we look forward to 2017, do you think that GMOs and other bad things, you and I both think that they're bad, are going to go away or be reduced because people will decide not to consume them?
No, I don't think they're going to go away. I think it's going to be like the organic market was, where, back when organic started becoming the buzz thing, consumers became more knowledgeable, and so you found more of those products available, but you didn't see really a migration away from the other one. And I think primarily the reason we don't see that migration, like with fewer products that are bad and more that are good, is that there's just an awful lot of people who can't afford to spend more money on those things. Usually, I'd say economics is one of the biggest things. The other thing is that availability. Those things aren't available in all stores at all times. But people like you and I, and the people that listen to your program, Mark, that are seeking knowledge. They're looking at, how can I be healthier? We all want to live a long life, but we also want to be able to enjoy that time. So there's a segment of the population, I think, that we'll take a little bit of the pie away. It's just they're making the pie bigger. I don't think they're taking any of the slice away. It's just they're making a bigger pie so that that people like you and I can get those non-genetically modified foods. But I don't think they're going to decrease making the ones that are.
And, of course, at the same time, when we're making that pie, that blackberry pie or the apple pie, we can make that with non-genetically modified fruit, right?
Well, I want to know where they're even, like, how are they validating or substantiating that the seeds they're using to grow these non-GMO plants, how do they know? I mean, this has been going on for years. Where's the stash of good seed, man? That's what I want to know. Where's that stash?
Well, but I guess they can look at the DNA. My question is, and my wife asked me this the other day, what's the difference between a genetically modified plant and one that's been crossbred? I was at, I think it was Whole Foods, and I saw a plucot. Well, God did not invent a plucot.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
But somebody took a graft of a apricot and a plum tree, and they put them together, and the plucot came out.
Yeah.
Is there any difference between that and a GMO? To me, there is.
No. I mean, to me, that's genetically modified. It's not. Now, here's the difference, though. Like, so in nature, sometimes that stuff happens naturally, but in a fruit tree, no, it's not. But in a flower, it would. Or in corn, like cross pollination and stuff like. There was that went on. But this whole thing of, the grafting, my mom was a big, grower of roses. And, that's when, this one had a hardy root stock. So we're going to use that for the root. But this is the flower we want, so we graft this on it because it usually had crappy roots,
right.
Or let's graft it to this because for some reason, insects didn't like this. To me, that's still genetically modifying. And, not to get all spiritual on people, for me, if I go back in, the Old Testament of things, like that's not the way God created stuff, and I do walk that walk, that, Mark.
Sure.
I do walk my spiritual, you do as well. And, and I think that, when we are doing those things, it's not the way it's supposed to be. And I think that's why people do have allergies to certain things like that, because I don't think we were created to have allergies. I think we created things that we ended up becoming allergic to, because they're not the way they normally existed in nature.
At the same time, I think that the guide of the world, God, no matter who or how you believe, has a wonderfully warped sense of humor, and allergies are one of the outcomes of that.
I love it. I always have those God's conspiracy theory things too, so that's kind of funny that you said that.
Our guest is none other than Dave Foreman, the herbal pharmacist, a good friend of the Late Night Health family, and we really appreciate him being here. We're talking about. We're really off on a tangent. We're supposed to talk about America's most unusual nutrition trends for the year. But this is important to me. I mean, it really got my goat going when I saw the fact that this was genetically modified. I don't actually agree that grafting two plants together is genetically modifying that, because when they do make a GMO, often they put a chemical in there to make it resistant to bugs and insects and things. And this is more natural. I mean, they've been doing this kind of thing for hundreds, if not thousands of years.
They actually have. You're right. They've been doing that for thousands of years. Again, like if I'm going to go spiritual, Old Testament talks about them grafting grapevines. That goes back, thousands of years at least there. There's documentation of them, like the Chinese doing that. So, yeah, I mean, it's been going on for a while. And I don't want to get into it. I don't think that's nearly as bad as, what we were talking about, where they're chemically modifying plants.
Right.
Or truly genetically modifying a plant so that it's disease resistant or bug resistant or whatever.
And by the way, Dave, we'll point out the chapter and verse in the Old Testament where the Chinese are grafting plants. We'll have that on our website for you. Dave Foreman, the herbal pharmacist, our guest. We're talking about America's most unusual nutrition trends. We'll actually get into that as Late Night Health continues. Coming up, Teresa, the president of the Wildfire Workshops, will be talking to us about the Global Influence Summit happening in early February in Fort Lauderdale. That's something that's just absolutely a dynamite thing to do. And Dr. Teresa Dale will be joining us, so we'll have Teresa and Teresa coming up next here on Late Night Health. Dave and I return along with the insane Daryl Wayne. Don't go away. More coming up. Join us at latenighthealth.com.
If you or someone you love suffers from drug addiction, now is the time to utilize your private health insurance PPO plan. If eligible, receive up to $30,000 or more in substance abuse benefits with low or no out-of-pocket cost. We are the National Treatment Network, the premier drug and alcohol treatment referral service operating 24/7. We help connect you with facilities nationwide that accepts PPO private health insurance for substance abuse. If you have PPO substance abuse coverage and you need immediate admittance to a medical detox or residential rehab treatment center, call us now. Call our live referral helpline today. The call is free. This program is not available to Medicare or Medicaid customers.
Call 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. That's 800-296-1252.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate a lower tax bill. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will fight for you using industry secrets that can stop any IRS actions, eliminate penalties and interest, and reduce your past tax bill so you pay the IRS less. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the Tax Doctor now for a free IRS audit emergency review.
800-663-5107. 800-663-5107. 800-663-5107. That's 800-663-5107.